Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Young at Heart. This is session number 14 of Mother Goose Rhymes, children's poems, and songs to keep us young at heart. I'm Father James DeLucio here in the Paulist Rectory in New York on a very rainy Sunday afternoon. Isn't it wonderful to be inside, cozy and warm, while the elements are doing their thing? Perhaps you have some great memories of cozying up to a book on a cold and rainy, wet day, knowing that you're safe and sound. Well, we pray that everyone is safe and sound this day, and healthy and free from any contaminations as we carefully sequester ourselves and enjoy our homes, something that we don't often really take the time to do. Today's selections are Toad and Frog, Little Jack Horner, and The Wooing. Now, Toad and Frog is an interesting one because it's really about competition and also playing copycat. The word that the scholars use, that the psychologists use, is mimetic. They say we're mimetic creatures. We like to copy. We like to imitate. And that is quite true. We see somebody doing something that seems good and fun, and we want to try it too. Well, through this Toad and Frog, we're reminded of that aspect of our human nature, and hopefully it gets us to laugh a little bit at ourselves and to try not to be copycats all the time, and let the neighbors enjoy the grass on their side of the fence and be content with ours. But meanwhile, here is the competition between Toad and Frog. "Croak," said the Toad, "I'm hungry, I think. Today I've had nothing to eat or to drink. I'll crawl to a garden and jump through the pails, and there I'll dine nicely on slugs and on snails." "Ho, ho," quoth the Frog, "is that what you mean? Then I'll hop away to the next meadow stream. There I will drink, and eat worms and slugs too, and then I shall have a good dinner like you." And speaking of dinners, Little Jack Horner sat in a corner eating his Christmas pie. He put in his thumb and pulled out a plum and said, "What a good boy am I." Now, there's a legend about Little Jack Horner, and it takes place during the English Reformation when King Henry VIII was having a field day and making himself pretty much like God himself. You may know that he wanted, or that not that he wanted, he actually did take all the monasteries and closed them, sent the monks out, and took all the monasteries and their lands for himself. Very selfish little man, wasn't he? But at any rate, nevertheless, this Little Jack Horner is allegedly, and not proven, but that there was a man at that time named Tom Horner who was an assistant to one of the monks at this abbey and this monastery. And so that it was customary to send the king a gift, often a pie, and it wasn't uncommon it wasn't uncommon to place a message beneath a pie crust. Can you imagine that? So they sent the pie to King Henry VIII, and this clever monk, hoping to save his monastery, offered adjacent lands that were owned by relatives of the monastery, I imagine, or someone who was willing to help, and he offered these to the king. Of course, the king was still intent on taking the monasteries, but he did include a deed for a manor somewhere farther away, not for the monk. Most of those, of course, had off with their heads. But no, instead, to the deliverer, to the messenger, to Tom Horner. That's the plum he pulls out of the pie. So to reiterate, I can take off my glasses for this one. Little Jack Horner sat in a corner eating his Christmas pie. He put in his thumb and pulled out a plum and said, "What a good boy am I." A little smug, wasn't he? But he got a nice manner, and people named Horner allegedly live in that manner to this very day. Again, unproven, but a kind of fun story, isn't it? All right, our last one is very new to me. I'm finding many new discoveries in my nursery rhyme book. I hope you take some time to find some new discoveries too. And if you can, memorize a few. And don't forget my idea of playing charades to see who can remember which nursery rhyme. Okay. The wooing. Now this one's a little tricky because the rhythm and the patterns of the poem change, and you have to change with them. Ready? There was a little man who wooed a little maid, and he said, "Little maid, will you wed, wed, wed? I have little more to say, so will you a or nay? For the least said is soonest mended, dead, dead, dead." Then the little maid replied, "Should I be your little bride? Pray, what must we have to eat, eat, eat? Will the flame that you're so rich in light a fire in our kitchen? Or the little god of love turn the spit, spit, spit?" Very practical, young lady, don't you think? And perhaps not very much in love with this little man, this poor little maid. Now, here, eat, eat, eat doesn't quite rhyme with spit, 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 but you can play around with it when she says, "Pray, what must we have for to eat, eat, eat? Or the little god of love turn the speet, speet, speet." And if you don't know what a spit is, if you're watching this with some children, it's like a rotisserie. Have you ever gone to the supermarket and gone to the deli department? And often deli departments have an oven on many layers, and there's many chickens roasting, and they're turning around and around and around. Well then, you know what a spit is, don't you? Thank you so much, everybody. It's so much fun finding these nursery rhymes and practicing them a little bit for you. In the coming days, I have some special songs that I like to sing, and I'll surprise you with those as we go along. If you haven't yet gone to Mass through the internet, there is a live broadcast from the Paulist Chapel at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here this Sunday, March 29th, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, March 29th. And if that isn't a convenient time for you, you can watch a replay on paulist.org sometime later this evening or tomorrow. God bless everyone. Keep safe, stay healthy and well, and God bless you. Bye, everyone.